$2.7 trillion and counting have been lost out of gold. Look at it right here, okay? Before now, gold hits a record high with a market capitalization of $30 trillion. But right now, you can see that it has reduced to 27.79 trillion. Now, this is counting because if you invested in gold, let's say 2 days ago or 3 days ago, there's a reason why this video is for you, because I believe from data that gold is going to have significant decline before any move to the upside, and that is what I want to discuss with you and try to correlate it with Bitcoin and see which one is the best right now for investment. Look at it right at this very point. We see that gold have been moving upward, and this sporadic move all the way to the upside actually catch the attention of a lot of investors. However, I call them baby investors because if you were to invest in gold, you should have done that around this very area. Okay, that is the beginning of this very year, when that very pump was not significant, because right now the pump is so significant that there is euphoria in the market and a lot of persons are buying bars of gold and keeping it right there. Of course, you can make an argument and say gold is going to still increase in the near future. Of course, that's true. Maybe in the next 2 to 3 years, gold is going to definitely, increase in value. But in the next 1 year from now, I believe that there should be correction, okay, from this historical standpoint. Look at it right here, or we should see the market pause and range for some time. And if market is going to pause or come back down or range for some time, and there is another asset that I believe strongly that is going to move all the way upward, then as a smart investor, then you should put your money in that asset and not in gold. Look at it right here. I am on the 1 week chart. If you look at it, gold move all the way. Okay, we have consolidation, move upward, consolidation, move upward, consolidation, and then move upward. If you look at all this area, this is one of the significant drop we've seen. Look at it right here. You can compare this very move to what is happening right now, right at this very point. You can also compare this drop to what is happening right now at this very point. You can compare what happened right here to what is happening right now at this very point. This is a total different ball game altogether, because for those that are following me strictly, I told you guys that gold is going to have some decline last week. And that is what we've seen from the beginning of this very week, because that signal was very clear on price action. So if you look at this very point, gold have dropped significantly more than it did right at this point, at this very area, and at this very point. Now, you may make an argument and say, okay, this is the 1 week chart. Of course, this is 1 week chart and we should give it time to play out. If you give it time to play out, what I am expecting is for this very decline to continue to the downside. And I have my reason for that. And one of those reasons is because we've not seen this kind of decline. Okay, if you measure from this very point to this very area where the market is right now, on gold, we've not seen this kind of decline before on gold. When it comes to retracement, it did not happen right here, not even at this very point, not at this very point as well. Okay, this is backdated to 2004. Okay, this was the beginning of 2025, and then right now, market is within this very point with this kind of decline. What that means is market have greater capacity of coming back to the downside. And I am very strong about this, that on the price of gold, we're going to see significant market decline all the way to the downside from now moving forward. So what I am expecting is for market to keep coming back down. Of course, don't expect aggressive drop all the way to the downside. That's what I'm talking about. I'm not expecting this kind of drop, crazy drop. No, it's not going to happen. I'm talking about a gradual decline, okay? A gradual decline on the price of gold. And in a very mild situation, you're going to expect the market to consolidate. That is what we've experienced around this very area, consolidation. That means nothing was really happening on the price of gold, and then we have consolidation around this very area. Nothing was really happening on the price of gold, and also consolidation around this very area. What that means is, if you bought some bars of gold that's 2 weeks ago, or let's say 4 months ago, and you're in profit, I can argue it out that you should collect some profit and allow the market to retrace, because I believe that the market is going to retrace significantly more than what we've seen on this very price action around this very area and around this very area. So collect profit for market to decline for you to buy at better prices. Now, if you are a very long-term investor, let's say you're looking at 5 years or 10 years from now, and that is your goal, then I would say leave the money right there in gold. But if you're looking at the next 6 months to 1 year, I don't think gold is going to do that much. I'm going to show you my expectation on the price of gold in the next 1 year. If gold move upward, I am not expecting gold to go above this very price level of $5K. That is my expectation. That means if we see another increase on the price of gold, I'm not expecting something crazier than $5K, because of course market can move upward and then finally come back to the downside. So the worst case scenario to investors in the better term, the best case scenario that gold can move upward into is this very area, okay, of $5K. And this is my personal opinion based on what I'm seeing on price action, okay, and other data. So from this very area, market should come back down, and this is the best price that gold can really move up into, $5K, before it's going to come back down again. What that means is, and the possibility of market moving into this very area is just 40% for me. That means 60% market is going to come back to the downside. And like I said earlier, don't expect aggressive drop on the price of gold to the downside. What that means is market can go down a little bit, go upward, come back down, go upward, come back down, go upward, and then finally move all the way to the upside. And that will take me back to the 1 day chart. The 1 day chart here looks very, very great. In fact, at the opening of today, you see that there is a gap right here. And a very important gap right here is this very area, okay? So market can come back to fill this gap before the next move to the downside. So if I switch back again to the 4 hours chart for you to see this very gap very clearly on price action, look at it right here. So we have this very gap that occur right at this very point at the opening of the market today. What that also means is that market can come back down, go upward to retest this very area, which is also a very strong resistance level at this very point, and afterward begin to come back to the downside. So this is what you should expect on the 4-hour chart, because this market has been coming all the way to the downside. And what that means is market have capability of moving down a little bit, in my opinion, to this area of $3,900 before the next move to the upside. A possible move into this very area, close up the gap, and begin to come all the way to the downside on the price of gold 4-hour chart. So back to the 1 day chart, something very interesting here is that if you look at this very price action, this market is just coming back down. As at when I saw this very signal last week, and I told you guys that market is going to come back down on the price of gold, was where I see this very candle. And once I spotted this candle last week, this was very, very significant compared to all the candles. I mean, bear candle we've seen on this very price action in the last 1 year, and it's a sign that market is going to definitely begin to move all the way to the downside. And the next pause that I'm expecting for this very downward movement is within this very point of interest, this very area right here. That is where I'm expecting the market to move into. That means don't expect much move. Market is going to come back down because it has been going back down all the way from this very area. So market go into this very point, a little move into this very area before retracement and then continuation back down. And this is what I am personally expecting right now on the gold price action. There is this historical correlation between gold and Bitcoin. I'm going to do that video tomorrow, so don't miss out on that video. Watch that video on the channel tomorrow. There's a very deep correlation between gold and Bitcoin. That correlation will help you understand the flow of money and how smart investors are actually playing their game. Looking at Bitcoin and on the other hand, looking at gold. So you flip your money from Bitcoin into gold and from gold into Bitcoin, and they are shifting this dynamic back and forth. Very importantly, you must have to stick with certain parameters, and I'm going to dive into detail in tomorrow's video. Watch that video out as it's coming out tomorrow. So if you come to this very market capitalization, you discover that Bitcoin is number 8. Look at it right here. And right now, $2.29 trillion. If you come to coin market cap and you look at Bitcoin and then you look at the market capitalization of Bitcoin right at this very point, you discover that the market cap for Bitcoin at this very area, let me show you that, this is $2.2 trillion. And if you look at this very data, $2.2 trillion, so it's almost the same data. Okay, so they are saying the same thing, which means this data here is not wrong. And if you look at this very area, you see number 7th Amazon with 2.42, we have Silver 2.6, we have Alphabet, that's Google, 3.22, we have Apple 3.94, we have Nvidia 4.64, and we have gold. Now personally, I believe in the next 2 years, I'm giving 2 years for Bitcoin to flip Apple, okay, and Google. I mean Microsoft, okay. I am giving 2 years for Bitcoin to flip Apple and Microsoft. That means Bitcoin should be at this very area. That is the top position in the next 2 years. This is my personal opinion right now. That means Bitcoin should move from here, flip Amazon, flip Silver, flip Alphabet, Google, and flip Apple, and also flip Microsoft in market capitalization. This is my personal opinion on this very subject. What that also translates into is that if you were thinking to buy gold right now, in my opinion, of course, I'm not a financial advisor, but from what I am seeing from other data sources, I think Bitcoin is going to definitely do much more better than gold. Now, if you've been following me on this very channel, if you look at it, I've been talking about market moving upward. Look at this very analysis right here that I did on Bitcoin, and I said Bitcoin is going to move to the upside into this very zone right here. It was very clearly stated in this very price analysis. If you can see this very price analysis very well right here, you discover that Bitcoin is right now at this very point where I projected it's going to get into. And if you come to this very area, that is where we're seeing rejection from right now, very clearly on price action. So if we are seeing rejection from here right now, what that means is we can possibly see some kind of pullback on the price of Bitcoin, and then the next move to the upside, Bitcoin is going to begin to climb upward. So if I switch back to the 4 hours chart, you discover that the 4 hours chart gives us a clearer view of what Bitcoin is going to do in the next few hours. So in my opinion, Bitcoin is going to retrace, okay, and this retracement is critical for market moving upward again. And key areas to pay attention to on the price of Bitcoin before the next move to the upside is number 1, this very point right here, this very area, okay, and then secondly is this very point of interest, this very area of interest, okay. These are the 2 areas that are very important right now for Bitcoin to retrace into before the next move to the upside. What that means is, on the immediate short term, expect Bitcoin to retrace back down, move upward or come back up to this very area of $111,000 before the next move to the upside. These are the two possible areas you should expect Bitcoin to retreat into before the next move to the upside. However, if I flip back to the 1 week chart, look at the 1 week chart right here, it is covered that this retracement is still ongoing. And for this retracement to end, I want to see a breakout of this very new all-time high with a very strong bullish candle. Once that strong bullish candle appear on price action, I can tell you that it is now time for Bitcoin rally to continue. Before gold, we are going to see a significant decline on the price of gold all the way to the downside. What that means is once we begin to see gold have this significant decline, and then Bitcoin on the other hand break out of this all-time high, just like we are seeing right now on the price of gold, and we see Bitcoin break and create a new all-time high, and the 1 week chart close above this very area of $126,000, then I'll be very sure that the market have greater capability, 70 to 80% of moving into the $150,000 and $200,000. And that is the next target for me on the price of Bitcoin. Look at it right here. From this very area, we have this very point, and we have this very point from this historical data on price action. It is covered that if market move upward, the next target is this very point of $150,000. So market breakout here, that is this movement occur, breakout here above the 126,000 and close bullish, then the next move is going to enter into this very point of $150,000. And of course, this is not a very final strong resistance for Bitcoin. What that means is Bitcoin have the capability of breaking this very trend line. Of course, it's a very strong trend line because it has resisted for a number of time. If you draw this even backward to this very point, okay, so if this trend line have been obeying, I'm also very sure that market is going to break it. And if we see that breakout of this very trend line within this very area of 150K, the next target is going to be the $200,000 for one Bitcoin. So this is what I am now expecting right now. What that means is if you are considering investing in gold, maybe in the next 1 year, I can tell you it may not be a wise thing to do, because gold, in my opinion, is going to come back down or consolidate for some time within this very area, and Bitcoin is going to move upward. That is my personal opinion, and that is why I believe it is wise to invest in Bitcoin on the long term compared to gold, especially in the next 1 year. Bitcoin is going to outperform gold in the next 1 year, starting from as at the recording of this very video. So as a wise investor, it will be wise for you to consider investing in Bitcoin compared to gold. Now, I am not saying gold is not a good investment vehicle. That's not what I'm saying, not at all. Gold is very, very good, okay? In my opinion, it's very good. And that is why I said if you're looking at 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, of course you can invest in gold, and that's okay. But if you're looking at greater return on your investment in the next 1 year, Bitcoin is the right way to go, because it's going to do even much more better compared to gold. Remember, only 21 million Bitcoin will ever exist in the lifetime of Bitcoin, and right now about 20 million is already in circulation, owing to the fact that the Bitcoin ETF is actually taking out Bitcoin from exchanges. Not only that, the private company reserve, that is the private company treasury of Bitcoin, is actually absorbing Bitcoin from exchanges as well, and this is going to create a mass scarcity for Bitcoin. Of course, recently miners are having difficulty of mining more Bitcoin because of the block reward is coming back down. So this is very interesting. And in my next video tomorrow, I'm going to show you guys the correlation between Bitcoin and gold. And the reason why once gold remains stagnant, that is consolidating or coming back down a little bit, Bitcoin will always flow all the way to the upside. And in my opinion, that is the best time to invest in Bitcoin. And that is why it's better to invest in Bitcoin right now compared to gold, in my opinion. So these are the things you need to pay attention to right now, should in case you want to invest in Bitcoin or in gold. Of course, I've shown you that more than $2.7 trillion have been lost out of this very market, and it's going to be counting in the next coming days. Pay attention to all of these guys, and if you want to join my Telegram channel for more updates, look at it right here, link in the description of this very video to follow more accurate on-chain data, technical analysis, and many more. Join right now, link below. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.